Hi everyone, my name is Moni.
And I'm Naveen from Before You Play.
And today we have another top 10 list for you. This time it is for games that are coming out at GenCon.
Are going to be at least previewed or released or some sort of information.
Maybe I said that wrong.
And a demo or something like that will be at GenCon
Yes.
2022.
They're games that were on the GenCon preview list on BGG.
That's what it comes down to.
That's what it comes down to, yeah. So we have a combined list this time. I've contributed 5. Naveen has 5 as well.
5, yes.
And we'll let you know whose is whose. But speaking of GenCon, we do have a few things to discuss before we get into our lists. First of all, GenCon is coming up this week. I believe it starts on Thursday.
Thursday, the 4th.
Yeah.
Yes.
This Thursday. And it'll be from Thursday to Sunday. If you're not familiar with GenCon, this is the largest board game convention in the United States. And we're going. This is our first time.
Yeah, first time since getting into the hobby. We've been doing content for 3 years, but with COVID going on, obviously, we did not get to go. And this is the first year that we have an opportunity.
Yes. So we're really looking forward to it. We're not hosting any official anything, really. We're going to be kind of wandering the halls. We have some meetings scheduled. It's going to be a pretty packed few days. But if you see us around, we're going to be bringing our buttons that we always bring to these conventions. And so if you'd like one, then just let us know and we'll give you a button. I swear at some point in the future, we'll have something else to offer. But for now, they're buttons.
Yeah, we're not charging. Just if you see us and you want a button, just go ahead and ask and we'll get you one.
And if you've been to GenCon before and you have any recommendations or even just words of advice, let us know because we are definitely open to hearing everything.
Yeah,
right?
We'll just have fresh eyes going in there like, what is this?
We don't know what to expect.
Yeah, we've been to Essen before. That's a pretty big one, but we've heard Gen Con is huge.
Yes,
so
it's quite
we're
unique.
Pretty excited.
And so on to our lists. Now, we did go through the entire preview list this time. And so this is kind of something that we did with our Patreon community. You know, we never really verbally market our Patreon at the beginning of our videos, but I just wanted to let you know that we did a couple of podcast episodes just for the Patreon community this month, where we talked about pretty much everything that we kind of highlighted on our Gen Con preview list.
Yeah, there's about 500 and something games on the Gen Con preview list. And if you're not familiar with the list, it's a list that's on BGG that's currently active right now. And it highlights basically all the different publishers that are releasing different games or demoing games. And so Monique and I basically rapid fire went through majority of them and released a little mini podcast for the community.
2 sessions.
Technically 3 sessions.
Yeah, that's true.
Technically a third one, yeah.
So if you're interested in checking out the list, the actual BGG list, we'll include a link to that in the description below, as well as our Patreon link if you're interested in hearing those podcast episodes. Otherwise, are you ready to begin?
Let's do it.
Okay. So I think you're going to start us off.
I think so,
But we do have a couple of runner-ups.
So
it's been a long
10,
time.
We have runners-up,
this.
of course, yes. So I will start?
Sure.
Okay, so this is a runner-up because this is a game that I've actually played before. We did a live stream where the designer actually taught it to us and ran the game. And it is none other than a game called the Ready, Set, Bet. This is published by AEG and designed by John DeClaire. John DeClaire is a fantastic designer. He's done some of my favorite games of all time, like Space Base, and now this new one, Ready, Set, Bet. This one is basically a real-time horse racing and betting game.
Yeah.
Where somebody is going to be running the horse race, and then in real time you are going to be placing bets depending on how the horses are moving. He kind of uses crap-style math and statistics to make it kind of like a level playing field for everything. And there's kind of like this huge craps table board where everybody's kind of reaching in and making bets. And it is really, really fun. I had a really good time playing it. We only played it that one time, and instantly I knew. I was like, this is a game that has to be in our collection.
We played it during the Watch It Played party live stream. And so we'll include a link to that as well if you want to go back to that area. I believe there are timestamps.
There's timestamps,
want to see exactly how that game went down, then you can feel free to watch it. And if you are interested in a game like that, but you know that it'll be hard to get somebody to run the race element, then I believe there's an app that's going to be coming out that'll run the race for you.
I don't know if it's out yet, but he was telling us that there will be an app that has several different scenarios, and they most likely will add to it in the future if it was popular enough.
It's really exciting. So that's a really, really neat game.
Yeah, so that's my runner-up. That is Ready, Set, Bet, designed by John DeClaire.
Okay, and before I get to my runner-up, we do want to mention that, our list does not include games that we've already played or have covered on our channel or are going to cover. And so things that we would typically put on our list, like Septima and stuff from publishers that we usually kind of gravitate towards, unfortunately will not be on our list today.
Yeah.
Also, we're not going to have many photos because these are games that we don't own. And in order for us to feature photos, we have to steal them them off of the internet, which you're not allowed to do. So if we feature any photos, those are all commercial use licenses off of BGG or their websites.
Right.
All right, so my runner-up is a game that I've been trying to get for like a year and a half. And it's a part of the Exit series. So we typically like to play the Unlock series. That's kind of like our go-to for escape room style games, where it's kind of like one use, you solve the game, and then you're kind of done with it. But we used to play a lot of the Exit series of games until I think one of them made us lose our trust in it because we were like, I'm never going to be able to solve this.
Yeah, there was
Right?
one Exit game where it just is like, that's pretty convoluted.
Yeah, I don't
All
remember
right.
which one it was. But after that one, we never played another one in the series.
didn't, no.
But I'm willing to give them a chance again because it's just kind of how those games go. You know,
Yeah.
some of them are going to be great and some of them you're not going to be, you know, too fond of.
Sure.
And so they have an advent calendar for the Exit series where you basically open up a puzzle a day until Christmas. And we wanted to get it so badly last year, but I don't think they sold them in North America.
No, from what I understand, it was only in Europe and it was
Yeah.
very limited quantities. So they didn't even have any here in the
Yeah.
US. So
So this year we are doing our planning early. So we're 6 months in advance or so. And they actually have two different versions of it. It's going to be the Hunt for the Golden Book and the Mystery of the Ice.
Yes.
So we're going to get one of them, not both.
yeah, and from what I understand, it's you open up a different clue every day and then you solve it. And then at the very end, it's one cohesive
Story.
puzzle or story that
Yeah.
you're trying to solve. We know nothing about it other than that.
Yes.
But we love those type of games and it makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah. So that is my runner-up. I also wanted to give a shout-out, by the way, to Cora Quest. So if anybody out there is in the market for family games, this is a game designed by a family, a father and daughter. And it was a big hit at AirCon, and so I would highly recommend checking that out if you're going to be in the market for family games. Okay, number 10, Naveen.
Yes,
Take it
number
away.
10. Okay, so this is a game that is designed by somebody that I respect in the industry, that I've played a lot of their games and I really enjoy it.
Okay.
It's published by Pearl Games. It's designed by Sebastian Desjardins, and it's a game called Lofoten, which I think is a place in the Scandinavian countries. It's basically I don't really
You know
know too
where
much.
specifically?
I don't know exactly. I'm sure it told me on the list, but I don't
Yeah.
remember now off the top of my head. It's a 2-player only game, and it plays in about 40 to 45 minutes. If you're not familiar with this designer, he's also contributed to Trois, Deus, and then Black Angel. Black Angel's a game I have not played, but so many people have told me that because I like so many other types of games that I would love Black Angel. So I just kind of lumped that in there saying that it's probably a pretty good game.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of 2-player only games. Obviously, Monique and I play a lot of them, and something that plays in about 40 to 45 minutes. I thought it was really interesting that
spot.
on the BGG page, it's literally 40 to 45 minutes.
What is that extra 5 minutes?
I don't know, but I love
Where
it.
was the discrepancy there?
Normally, like you have a 15-minute, 30-minute range. It's
Yeah.
a 5-minute range. Apparently, you're going to be merchants trying to deliver different goods to score points, and there's multi-purpose cards. So depending on the way you play your card and what orientation, different things can happen. Don't know
Yeah.
too much about it. There's not too many pictures for the game, but yeah, that is my number 10, Lofoten.
Yes, that was Naveen's contribution, but it was also on my extended list.
Yes.
So, all right. Number 9 is a game that is designed by David Abelson and Alex Johns and published by 25th Century Games, by the way, who has a ton of games on the list that I'm really interested in. This is the one that just happened to make our top 10, I suppose. And it is called Gartenbau.
Gartenbau, yeah.
Yeah, it's really pretty, really, really pretty cover. And it's a game about I believe you're trying to grow a garden. That is the extent of what I know about the game. In the past year and a half or so, I've kind of started forming interest in flowers. Like we've been taking a lot of walks every day. We go on walks every day, and we point out all the flowers around the
Foliage,
neighborhood.
yeah. Not
The
just flowers,
foliage.
but like also like trees and
primarily
like different
trees.
plants, yeah.
Yeah, but the flowers are beautiful.
Yeah, we're nerding out on plants lately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this one, obviously, if you are really into that kind of hobby or interest, like flowers and gardening, this should be like right down your alley because it is so beautiful. And I really hope that it's nice and thinky and,
Yeah, you're
has really
hoping
good
that the box
decision-making.
matches what you hope
gameplay.
the gameplay is going to be.
Yes. And if you're curious, this is a game for 2 to 4 players that plays in 30 to 60 minutes. So it's still right in that sweet spot,
yeah,
right?
totally.
So anyway, that is our number 9, Gartenbau.
Okay, moving on to our number 8. We're actually going to stay within this theme. This is a game designed by Phil Walker Harding and published by Buffalo Games. It is called Planted, a Game of Nature and Nurture. Phil Walker Harding is another designer that I am very fond of. There's several different games that he has come out with that I've enjoyed. I think it was like Cloud City was one. Gingerbread House is one of my favorites. I
Yeah.
really, really enjoy that game.
I like that game too.
This is a 2 to 5 player game, 20 to 30 minutes, and you're trying to take care of. It's a card game that you're trying to take care of different house plants and trying to score different points various ways. All kind of the same reasons why we are interested in Gartenbau is kind of the same reason for Planted.
Yeah.
Phil Walker Harding makes light to medium weight games that
Puzzly.
are puzzly but
Yeah.
still accessible, easy to get to the table, easy to teach, and I'm hoping that this is one of those. So this is number 8, Planted.
And Phil Walker Harding has quite a diverse design style, I
does,
feel.
yeah.
One thing that I mentioned in our recent podcast episode is that a friend of ours, Ruel Gaviola, if you're familiar, is a content creator, a wonderful friend. He introduced me to a Phil Walker Harding game recently called, I think it was Super Mega Lucky Box.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A roll and write that feels like lottery scratchers, and I quite enjoyed that game. So I'm really interested actually in checking out more of Phil Walker Harding.
Yeah, I think he has a couple different designs coming out at Gen Con, or going to be at least demoed. So this is definitely one because of the theme as well as the time on it. And it's a 2 to 5 player game. I really like when games can go and stretch to that 5th player.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we'll find ourselves in that situation.
Yeah, but play still like pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Yep, so that's number 8, Planted.
All right, moving on to number 7. This is a game that I'm quite excited about. I debated moving this up like higher on the list, and I still kind of think it should be higher. But it's a game that's designed by Reiner Knizia. It's been a while since we've played a new Reiner Knizia game, right?
I think the last new one we played was Babylonia.
Oh, yes, which was still
Which
like
is
a couple
maybe
years
2 years ago, yeah.
right? So this is a game designed by Reiner Knizia, published by Rebel Studios, and I believe Asmodee. Plays 2 to 4 players in 45 to 60 minutes, and it's called San Francisco. So from what I understand, this is a game where you are trying to redesign the city of San Francisco. It's
Start over?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
city planning game.
Cool.
And I am originally from San Francisco. That is my home city.
She's born and raised there. Yeah.
I'm born and raised there. I have mixed feelings with what it's come to be like
So
now.
you need to redesign San
So I need
Francisco.
to redesign it.
Yeah,
That's all.
okay.
That's all that needs to happen.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw some pictures on BGG and it looks pretty. I'm very curious to see what the mechanics will be like because Reiner Knizia is a mathematician, and from what I've experienced from his designs in the past, they're very thinky. They're usually really clever, really clean of a design.
Super simple
And-
to always understand. I've
Yeah.
never been like just hung up on a Reiner Knizia game ever.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean the actual decision making
Yes.
a lot of times is hard.
Rule
but
set
the,
wise.
the rule set is usually pretty elegant and just like doesn't have all the extra bells and whistles that a lot of like heavier games
Yeah.
tend to have, right?
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to playing San Francisco, and that is our number 7.
Yep. Okay, moving on. I am just hanging out in your wing.
In my wing?
Yeah, because the last one was the same theme. This is same designer.
Oh,
This is a
okay.
Reiner Knizia game.
We didn't plan this.
We did not plan this actually. Now to think about it, it's a redo. This is not retheming. It's
It's
a
like a
reimplementation.
yes, like a reprint,
Reprint,
like
but deluxified.
new art. Yeah,
Yes.
deluxified, exactly.
So if you're familiar with anything that's going on, Reiner Knizia reprint, this is from 25th Century Games. It is none other than Raw. Raw is a game that came out back in the 90s, like I think 1999.
Is that right?
Yeah,
99?
it's a pure auction game. It's got an Egyptian theme on it where you are essentially trying to set collect by using these different bidding tokens to collect different type of tiles. Sometimes you can bust if you collect too many of a certain type of tile, or if you're not prepared for something called a flood, if you're familiar with this game. It's a 2 to 5 player game. It's an auction game, and I have the app, but it's not the board game,
Yeah, it's not the same.
because you're just playing
You
against a
don't-
computer and
Yeah.
the table talk and all that stuff that goes on.
Right.
It's about a 45 to 60 minute game.
It's a game that you've discussed a lot in the past.
In the
It's
past,
been
I've talked
on
about it,
A
yeah.
couple of lists. It's got to be like one of the most well-known auction games in the tabletop
I mean,
space.
he does
right?
a lot of auction games.
He
and
does, that's
and-
true,
And
he
I
does.
and I like auction games. I know a lot of people are kind of lukewarm on them. I think they're great. I love
Yeah.
wheeling and dealing and trying to outwit my opponents, like because we all have the same public information and we're all trying to get the same kind of stuff, but who can do it the most clever and cunning way?
Yeah, Naveen's usually really good at auction games. It's kind of annoying. You
Yeah.
always win like Modern Art, which is another
Another
Reiner
Reiner
Knizia
Knizia,
game,
yeah.
right? So, I have to play.
Maybe
Raw
that's why I
with you.
like them. Yeah. Well, yeah.
my
So
gosh.
it plays 2 to 5 players. I highly recommend it at the 4 and 5 player count. But yeah, that is my number 6. This is Raw.
And that's another 25th century game. I'm telling you, there are a lot of
crossovers and stuff.
25th century games titles on that list. All right, we are already at number 5.
Halfway
We're
there.
really moving along here.
Yep.
So my number 5 is a deduction game, which I'm really excited about. It's designed by Fabien Gradel and Johan Levitt. I deeply apologize if I mispronounce those names, but those are the two designers, and it's published by Le Scorpion Masqué, and it's called Turing Machine, or The Turing Machine,
I think it's just Turing Machine.
Just Turing Machine.
Yes.
Okay. So this is from a publisher who designed one of my favorite party or group games called
They published
Decrypto.
it. Yeah,
They
Decrypto.
published it. Yeah, sorry. They published it.
Right.
It's called Decrypto, and it's another deduction style group game.
Two teams playing against each other,
Yeah.
and you're trying to decode different codes by using the same type of words.
Yeah.
If it's a very difficult game to describe.
Right.
But that's Decrypto.
But that's Decrypto.
Yes.
And so same publisher, but with the Turing Machine, this is another deduction game where you're trying to solve the problems, but the way that you're doing it is you're asking this machine. It doesn't require, it's not an app, it doesn't require any batteries or anything like that. It is just like a paper constructed computer.
It's an analog machine is what they're
machine.
calling it. Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently there's like a ton of different puzzles that you can do with this contraption that they've created. I am very curious to see what this is all about because I love deduction style games, and it only plays in 20 minutes. It's probably like each puzzle is like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
You probably
I
play
think it's
several.
like it's basically a race to solve the puzzle is that you're trying to get. And unlike Decrypto, this is everybody for themselves, from what I
Right.
understand.
Yeah.
So we like that publisher, Le Scorpion Masqué. They've come out with a lot of things that we've enjoyed. Again, Decrypto, and so this is one for sure. For me, this was high up on my list as well.
And it plays 1 to 4 players. So I'm really, really curious to see what this is all about. So that is our number 5, Turing Machine.
Okay, moving on. This is probably the heaviest game, I think, on the entire list. Maybe. Yeah, okay. This is published by Board and Dice, who I'm a big fan of. Designed by 2 different designers, Adam Kwapinski and Sumiska Fornal. I apologize if I've mispronounced any one of your 2 names. But this is a game called Terracotta Army. It is a 1 to 4 player game that's supposed to play in about 90 to 120 minutes. Essentially, the emperor has died, and you are tasked, along with your opponents, to construct the terracotta armies, the very famous ones in China. And apparently you're all technically building these armies together, but only one person is going to win at the end of the game. So I think it's one of those games where it's like we're all contributing to the same pool, but whoever scored the most and doing so wins. And so I don't really know too much about the mechanisms of this game. There's not too much information out there that I was able to research beforehand.
The box art looks cool.
The box art looks really, really cool. The cover, just like, whoop, I'm in.
Yeah, me too.
And Board and Dice, I've never been really like wronged by any of their games. I've always been a big fan of them. So
yeah, they make games that are definitely down our alley in
Yeah.
terms of weight, complexity, and just, style of game.
Yep.
And we actually argued, no, we didn't argue, but we had a debate over whose list that game was going to be on.
we both kind of made
Because-
our own list and then eventually came together.
Yeah.
And this was definitely like
On
high
both.
up there on both of ours. So,
Yeah.
yep.
So,
So, that's number 4, Terracotta Army.
all right, my number 3 is a game that is designed by Stefan Feld. It's actually a part of Stefan Feld's Cities collection, which now I believe there are 6.
There's
the
going to be
collection.
6, I think.
There was 4 that was previously announced, and then they recently announced games 5 and 6.
Right.
And if you're not familiar with the Cities collection, these are games that were reprinted or, like we were mentioning, reskinned.
Renamed, really.
Yeah, renamed. They're based off of popular games that Stefan Feld has made in the past.
Yeah.
And so these are all published by Queen Games, so they're all those yellow boxes. But our number 3 is one that was not in older design. It's a new one called Marrakesh.
Marrakesh,
It's a game for
yes.
2 to 4 players, and it plays in 120 minutes. I hear it is one of the heavier games. But the reason why I'm interested in this is, first of all, because it's a completely new design. And I actually do really like Stefan Feld as a designer. Stefan Feld's games are quite hit or miss for me, but I love just like
Trying it
seeing
out.
which ones are going to
Yeah.
be hit or miss, right?
Yeah, 'cause the hits are hits.
The hits
Yeah,
are hits
for us, yeah.
definitely. This one features a tower. I believe the way that it works, just based off of the BGG description, you have cylinders, I guess, behind your screen, and then you secretly choose 2 colors or something.
Okay, so it's like a planning aspect.
And then, there's a planning aspect,
Okay.
and then you get to place things out on the board. I don't actually know how this is played.
This is why it's just a preview list.
This is why it's a preview list,
We're interested in the designer,
Yes.
the publisher,
But it
mechanisms.
sounds like there is an engine building aspect to it, having to do with which cylinders you choose,
Okay, yeah.
as well as which ones come out of that tower.
Kind of like Amerigo.
Yes,
Okay.
that's exactly what I was going to reference, because I played Amerigo in the past, which is one of his older designs, thanks to Daniel from the Game Table over on Instagram. He introduced me to that game, and I thought, wow, that is a nifty little tower. Like, you put cubes in the tower, and then some cubes come out because of the way that the tower is designed. And so it sounds like he's implementing that again in a new design in a different way, because
Gotcha.
Amerigo is a completely different concept of a game. You're like sailing around the seas and going through around different islands and stuff. So completely different concept of a game.
So this is this is a brand new design.
Yes.
Versus the other ones, which is a remake of Rialto, which is now New York City.
Bruges and Macau.
got made into Amsterdam and Hamburg.
Yeah, I don't remember the names of those cities, but I just
think
remember
that's
those
right.
were.
I don't know if they're the right ones.
Those are definitely cities 1 through 3.
I don't know why they renamed them. Maybe it's a
Well,
licensing thing or
I
a
don't know.
deal, some sort of deal.
Just some flavor, I guess.
maybe, yeah.
And just in case you're wondering, games or cities 5 and 6, I believe, are La Isla and Bora Bora.
Bora Bora.
Bora Bora. Bora Bora was it one of those middle games for
That
me?
is, we split on Bora Bora.
Yes,
I am a
that's
fan.
it.
Monique is not a fan.
We have a playthrough of
We
it,
have a playthrough.
actually.
It's one of
on
our
this
very
channel.
first playthroughs.
That's
so
right.
if you want to see us not
Don't watch it.
be very good on camera, check that one out.
That is my number 3, at least, Marrakesh.
All right, last two. So this is kind of a callback to the very beginning, my runner-up. This is a game that's designed once again by John DeClaire. It's published by Brotherwise Games, and it is none other than Empire's End. Monique and I had a brief demo at the very last second at Dice Tower West earlier this year, and we kind of got the elevator pitch for this game. Essentially what it is, the theme of the game is you are at the height of your empire. Everyone has an asymmetric empire, and the only way is down from there. The whole civilization is going to crumble,
Right.
and you're essentially trying to put out different fires by gaining resources and trying to rebuild your infrastructure
Yeah.
before it all crumbles on you. I don't know too much more about the mechanisms of the game.
It has a card system that looks similar to Space Base, like that. If you've played Space before, how they have those like thin
Yeah.
cards, but you can flip them over when
Right.
you need to destroy parts of your empire, but you can also flip them back. And there's just some ways to score points having to do with those cards. It sounded super interesting
Yeah,
when they
there's-
demoed it to us.
It's supposed to be like resource management, and then I think you could also mess with your opponents, and so you're essentially trying to be the least crumbled empire by the end of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also a really, really nice partnership, in my opinion. Like, John DeClaire is a fantastic designer, really, really nice person. And Brotherwise is also a super nice publisher.
Yep.
So it seems like a really nice fit, right?
I totally.
So,
Yep.
good choice.
Yeah, thank you. That is my number 2, Empire's End.
All right. We have reached the end. I think this is going to be like not a surprise to anyone what our number 1 is. This is designed by Alexander Pfister and published by Eggert Spiel. And it's actually a sequel to another game.
Like a tangential
Yes.
game.
It is none other than Great Western Trail Argentina.
Yes.
So if you're not familiar with this game, this is a follow-up, or it's the second in a trilogy based off of Great Western Trail. The first one was just a remake of Great Western Trail, and this is the next one, Argentina. It plays 1 to 4 players in 75 to 150 minutes. I'm sure very similar to the original game.
Right.
And from what it sounds like, just based off of the description, it sounds like a kind of like a re-envisioned Great Western Trail.
Yeah,
right?
I think from what I understand, the main thing, like the rondelle system is there, upgrading your board is still there, but now they're going to add a little bit more that's
Yeah.
going to make it different.
But thematically, you're still, I think, delivering, but
Cattle.
you're in Argentina,
Right.
so it's a different location thematically.
Yeah.
But there's a new, I believe, a new worker,
A farmer.
farmer,
Yeah.
and something having to do with money.
Yes.
There's new ways to make money or
Okay.
something. So it sounds like just a re-envisioned version of Great Western Trail, which I'm very curious about. My history with Great Western Trail has been quite colorful.
Up and down.
If you followed our Alexander Pfister series that we did about a year ago, I started off actually quite not liking Great Western Trail, and then because we covered it for the series, I played it a lot more times, and I like it.
Enjoy
It's
it
a
more,
really
yeah.
it's an interesting game. It really is, especially compared to all of Alexander Pfister's other games. By the way, I just want to take this time to shout out another Alexander Pfister game that's going to be that was a part of the list, and this is Sky Mines. This is a reskinning of Mombasa, which I think was a great idea. And so even though we played Mombasa and we're familiar with that game, I definitely want to shout that out because I think it was a nice move on their part to retheme that game.
It's the mechanisms of that game are fantastic, Mombasa. So it's nice to see that they're going to do a reprint.
And there you have it.
Yep.
That is our top 10 list, plus a few other titles that we kind of snuck in
them in,
there.
yeah.
But again, if you are going or if you are interested in seeing certain games and you have any recommendations or advice, please leave us some comments down below, and we would love to hear from you.
Yeah, we'd like to know kind of what everybody else is interested in.
Yeah.
Everybody's list is so unique. There's a lot of crossover, of course, but 533 something games out there right now. So we are very interested in just hearing what you have to say.
Yeah, because we kind of talk about games like in our own vacuum.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so we love hearing what you'll have to say.
I like being surprised.
Yeah.
I like being like, I would have never played this game.
Yes.
And thank you for teaching it to me. Well, anyway, that is it. Thank you all so much for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, please consider subscribing.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.